PlayStation believes in great games.
PlayStation.
Hello and good day to you, my beautiful friends. I do hope you are well. Welcome to episode 14 of crossbuttonvr, a beginner's journey into PSVR2, a show for those who want to share in our newcomers' enthusiasm for the world of VR. Now, I'm your host Laurie, but in case anyone has forgotten, I just want to remind everyone that we are part of the Cross Players. So if you enjoy what you hear, why not check out all our other podcasts? Now, I'm thrilled to be joined once again by two of the metaverse's coolest influencers. It's Ben and Alex. Obviously, there's not a huge amount of competition, guys. Okay, so I think it's fair to say that.
No.
It's fair to say.
Hi, Laurie.
Hi there.
We're thrilled to be
Good.
here as well.
We are. Oh, we genuinely are.
We always look forward to our Friday chats, don't we? We record this on a Friday, everyone. It's always a nice end to the week.
Yep. When you reach a certain age, this is your social life, folks.
Yes.
Got this to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to think if we all did live closer to each other, we'd all meet up and maybe do this in the pub somehow. The edit might be fun.
That's the dream. Yeah, leave that to me. Whatever. Alex doesn't give a shit.
But this is the closest we can get. I've got a nice vocation hop, skip, and juice. Ben, what are you drinking there?
I don't want to say what I've got because I think it is somehow related to the coronation. And,
Oh, no.
I bought it. It was reduced to clear, and I thought, oh, I'll have that. And then I got it home, and I was like, oh, that's
Royal juice.
a monarchy related.
Bit of royal juice.
Beer's a beer.
Yeah.
Tastes fine.
They're just marketing. They're just trying to cash in on it. Alex, what have you got there to wet your whistle?
I've got some Pepsi Max
Nice.
from the old Soda Stream.
Nice.
Soda
Nice.
Still the 80s up there, isn't it?
They've got these new things, lads.
It's-
Soda Stream.
That's a brand new thing, yeah.
Cool. Well, quick.
Nez is coming soon.
Nez. Lego one, maybe. Speaking of which, did you see that Lego Pac-Man arcade machine? Is it pre-ordered, Alex, already?
No, you can't order it until the 1st, so it's not available to
If
order
you
until the
could,
1st.
would you have ordered it by now? Yes.
Yes, probably. Well,
If anyone watches this on YouTube,
not-
you can see behind Alex right now, there's a lot of adult designed Lego there. So when I saw that come up.
adult designed Lego? I don't see any Lego penises.
Lego for adults.
Just out of
Marketed
shot.
for adults.
The big Lego
The adult
fans.
collection.
Yeah.
Love the way that's where your brain went.
But I have my Lego vouchers from buying Rivendell to put towards it, so that's quite nice. Lego
Like a
reward
drug,
points,
isn't it?
are
They
always
like you
useful.
buy some Lego. Oh,
Yeah.
some right vouchers to buy some more Lego from us. I should give you some vouchers for shelves next because you're going to need more space, I think, soon.
I am running out of space. Yes.
Anyway, let's get on with the show. What's on the agenda tonight, everyone, guys? We're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about what we've been playing. And then, as our main topic, we're going to be chewing over the PlayStation Showcase, which happened this week. Now, starting off with the news, which obviously, a lot of the news has been dominated by the Showcase, so I'll leave that to one side. But the big thing that's come out this week is the first real sales figures came from Sony. You both saw this? Yep. So within its first 6 weeks, so up to early April, it sold 600,000 units, which is actually outpacing PSVR1 by 8%. And it also means that the Bloomberg story saying it only sold 270,000 was a flop was complete and utter bullshit. Who'd have thought? So yeah, what do you think about that?
Positive. Very positive.
Mm-hmm.
More than I expected. I thought when you seen that kind of 270, 300,000, we spoke about it before. I'm like, that didn't seem an unreasonable figure. So I think 600,000 seems like that's done well. Very well.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because what year did the original PSVR come out?
2016,
Like
I would say.
2016?
Yeah.
Something like that? So the PS4 had a bigger user base by that time, didn't it, than the PS5 has got now?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like the attach rate is higher
The
for
PS4
the
was
PS5
early,
than
so
it-
that was,
than it
3 years into PS4 came out in
It
2013.
came out at the same time as the PS4 Pro, because I remember basically when I went to that showcase thing that they did to show it off, like they had like the PS4 Pros and like little display units that you could see that as well where you were there.
So my thinking is, if if that's a better attach rate, if the PS5 has sold less units or fewer units, but still sold more units of, I correct myself, or whereas the PSVR2 has sold more, that's a really good thing. That's pretty positive.
Yeah, and obviously it's a lot more expensive, and so that's
that too.
And probably the current.
But it's not really.
Well, yes, people. So the upfront cost seems higher, but when you factored in all the other things you had to buy with PSVR1, probably isn't that much different.
I think weirdly the Quest has probably done it some favors though, because it's kind of like made VR more of a mainstream thing, because I think that ended up being something that people would just try out around their mate's house here and there, and I think it's maybe helped penetrate the market a little bit more for PlayStation. So in a strange way, I do think that's probably helped as well.
So I mean, the fact that it's outselling PSVR1 means hopefully it's reasonable to assume that the Sony's support for it will be at least as good as it was for PSVR1. Why did they bother making a follow-up if they weren't going to continue the same? I'm not expecting it to be more than that. I think as a headset ecosystem, I think we can look forward to 1 or 2 at most a year of big tentpole sort of first-party games, but there's going to be flooded with these smaller, cooler indie titles, which we're playing a lot of and absolutely loving. For me, that's what the strengths of the system are all about. That's why I've loved so many more things. I've played much more than Horizon Call of the Mountain. So I'm absolutely happy with that. But I think I think the sales would have been higher if Sony had have reassured people that they weren't going to do another PSVR1 and have kind of lukewarm support for it and sort of lose interest in it after a few years, which is what the common consensus unfortunately was that they did with PSVR1 and they did with the Vita as well. And I think a lot of people have been a bit like burnt on buying Sony expensive sort of spin-off peripherals or hardware and not seeing that commitment and support from them. So, and we'll come on to this when we talk about the showcase. That probably is an issue, and if they want to drive up sales figures, that's what they're going to need to do.
I think there's another couple of factors as well, though, that makes it even more impressive, because there was the whole chat around the PSVR1 did release in the lead up to Christmas. So it was in the holiday season, which is always a better seller than coming out in the spring. And also, you could buy it in any shop when it came out on the PSVR1, and they've limited the availability. So now that it'd be interesting to see how sales figures have gone. I mean, I've certainly noticed an uptake in people on just looking at Twitter. You're seeing like every day, I've just ordered the PSVR2, I've just ordered the PSVR2. And I know we're looking for people who are playing PSVR2 and they've been pointed towards us by the algorithms on Twitter, but you still see more of it. So it'd be interesting to see those figures in another 3 months, and I think they'll probably be even winding the gap between how much it's outselling or how much it's outpacing the PSVR one. Yeah,
on that point, there's been a few people that I've seen have said they picked it up because they keep seeing us banging on about it and me tweeting what I've been playing and stuff, and realising that there is stuff there. And it's interesting because it's not quite a mainstream, in the mainstream conversation around gaming at all, and even popular gaming sites, it's still quite a niche thing. But when you do have people that get it and really love it and are finding things like we are that really speak to them and are really unique experiences, hopefully as more and more people see that and can sort of spread that word of mouth, it will help the platform take off.
Yeah, because you're right, you don't really hear about it on, like, I listen to a load of gaming podcasts and it's just an afterthought. Like, people picked it up but haven't really kind of stuck with it, like hosts of podcasts and things. So yeah, I think you're right. There's there's a gap in the market, right? Maybe we can be the big influencers.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You are. That's what I said you. Introduction, Ben. That's what I said you were. But yeah, and it drives me mad because, and we'll talk about when we talked about Red Matter 2 last week. That's really a special game, something really special, and no one's talking about it because it's just on VR. And it drives me mad that there are these really interesting, compelling experiences, but the rest of the world was just like, no, I just want to play Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which, don't get me wrong, is a great game, but there's no space, it seems, for this other stuff. And even again, some of the sort of negative feedback that Sony's been getting for the showcases, because people aren't seeing the sorts of games, those third-person story-driven action-adventure games from Sony, which Sony get criticised for that being too much of their common blueprints. So when they do showcase without them, everyone's like, "Oh, that's rubbish. There's no games that we wanted to see."
Where are they?
Yeah,
It's
but
a sad
there's this whole other side of gaming and PlayStation gaming in particular that so many people are just not paying any interest in it. It's maddening, really, because if you're into games, I'm like, this is great. This is a whole new world of content and experiences, and everything's really interesting. I keep saying the word interesting. That's not very interesting to me. I'll try and think of some other words.
Let us know in the comments. Yeah, I think people are missing out.
Yeah, well,
but the numbers are trending in the right direction.
Sure.
So you never know. All it takes is that one banger title that becomes essential, and then I think
I think they need something which grabs attention that is too good to not play. I think everything
that's undeniable, that gets all of the podcast hosts from the big networks to pick up their PSVR2 again and talk about that game non-stop for a month, and suddenly these numbers that are already off to a great start will just go through the roof, I think.
Yeah.
Someone out there will be developing that game, and it will come out, and it will.
Exactly.
It will come. Because it was funny, I was thinking about this morning, or obviously we got into what we've been playing, but I'm like, I bloody love my PSVR2. Like, I genuinely, like, it's not just us sitting here saying this for the sake of a podcast, or like, I love being and talking about PSVR2 with you guys on a Friday night, because I genuinely enjoy what I'm playing on the VR2. Because I sat early and I'm like, oh, maybe we won't jump into VR, I'll try and play something else. And I put the PlayStation on and I'm looking, I'm like, I don't want to play anything else. I want to just get into VR. Like, it's totally consumed me, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I'm juggling it alongside Tears of the Kingdom at the moment, and
I see you should have done what I did and just not started it.
But like you though, I'd rather be playing stuff in VR, and I feel like that's so heretical to admit that. I mean, I can do it here. This is a safe space. Our listeners won't mind.
It is. Where's that music coming from? That's
that
weird.
you, Alex?
No.
All right, carry on. Laurie, are you sure you're not having a village fair in your back garden?
That's genuinely not me.
No, it's not me. Anyway, yeah, of course it's you.
Oh.
Is this salute to Laurie? It's like 8:30.
I'm thinking now, can I be bothered to edit this out?
Oh no, we can't edit that out.
This is staying in. This is staying in.
An insight into Laurie's
I don't know
evening.
what's going on outside.
Someone they have the
Some
trombone.
carnival's just gone past my house, apparently. It's because it's a warm evening and I've opened the windows. All hell's breaking loose. Okay.
Just what happens in Middle England.
The other small thing that happened is a brief window this week where the PSVR2 had its first price cut as well. We saw John Lewis in the UK slashing £50 off the price of it, which is a pretty big discount. And I thought, oh, is this going to be the first of a wave of retailers discounting it down with £50? Because that felt like that's a much better price point for it now. You take £50 off, that tempts people who've been on the fence. Take that off, they'll jump in.
Yep.
But sadly, it was just it seemed like a pricing error. It was just on for a few hours, wasn't it? Or maybe they got so much attention and they sold out.
I don't know if
stock.
it came back because it was it was a genuine it was a general discount across John Lewis of £50 off anything if you spent something. I don't know whether they
Over
just made it
500
ineligible.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, great to see. And again, that's all going to help pump those numbers up, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So
And if you have a friend who is buying a PSVR2, then please point them towards us. We can. We are the ones that can tell you what to play. Apparently.
yeah, they've got 14 episodes now. They can catch up on and binge on PSVR2 excitement and positivity, and yeah, those early days.
Trumpet playing.
Trumpet playing in the background. I'm going to find who that person is and say next week can you just do the whole hour. We're just soundtrack to the pod.
Birdsong and trumpets. Unicorns and rainbows all over again.
Okay, well, let's talk about what we've been playing. I will just start off by sharing the fact that I've finished another Fisherman's Tale now, and it is another game that I really, really enjoyed, which is becoming a common theme, but there we are. It's really good. Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the sorts of games like Edith Finch or Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, where in a way that it's kind of telling you that family drama. Well, much more like probably Edith Finch actually, where because in Edith Finch you just get all those kind of weird gameplay experiences. You get drop into the different scenarios, and it's a mix of things that you're doing in it, and it's quite like that. And there's a very heartfelt story that emerges throughout it, and really took me by surprise to the point that it had me crying at the end of it, which is the first VR game, first game I can think of for years that's actually moved me to tears, because at the end of it was just so nicely done and resonated so much for me, because it's telling the story of this father and his child, and I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't talk about it, but it really did surprise me. And if though I've talked about it already, so I won't go into the mechanics of how it works. Go back and listen to last week or the week before's episode, and I explain how the game works. But you are swapping bits of yourself in order to complete puzzles. So that's obviously a metaphor for the bits of yourself that you have to leave behind to progress through life. And when you become a parent and when you have children, things are scary, and you have to, that's kind of the idea. And I wasn't expecting that at all, because when it starts, it's so sweet and silly, but there is a real heart to it. And I won't say any more to it than that. But by the end of it, when you're playing as the grown-up daughter, sort of learning about her father and sort of making sense of what his stories, his tall tales were all about, and what the truth was behind them all and stuff. And when she learns that truth, it's as powerful as moments that you see in games like Edith Finch, and that's why it reminded me of that. Also really reminded me of the Crystal Maze, in that you are in these puzzle rooms where you're having to solve puzzles in the different rooms and go through, and it could be like it's a mental test or a skill test, or those sorts of points. There's that variety of gameplay. I was like, this is quite like, you go through room to room, and to progress you have to solve a puzzle, and it could be some great dexterity that's needed, or it could be something that you need to work out just how to move all the pieces in the right way and things. So it's great for that. I thought it was really clever, and it made me really want a Crystal Maze VR game, as an aside. But
that would be amazing. That would
imagine
be
that, and you could play it,
particularly when you do it in teams.
Multiplayer. That was oh man, someone make that, please. Get Jorg on the phone. And it's really French in a good way. It's really silly, but a lot of heart to it. So I don't know, this is a really sort of cliched reference, but like in the Amélie is really a really silly film, but it's a really sweet, lovely film as well. It's like that. It's very silly. It's quite a slapstick sense of humour in times, and the dialogue is really made me laugh out loud. But it's got that heart to it as well. So it's made by a French team, I think a French media company that part of the people that created it. So I think it's a very special game.
You've completed the set now, Laurie. I mean, that says all cried at a VR game. I mean, that probably speaks volumes about the medium itself.
I think it does, in the terms of how it focuses your full attention in what you are doing, in that you can't be distracted by the phone, and then you realise, oh wait, shit, this bit's an emotional bit. Okay, I'll pay attention now. You are fully invested in what's going on. So
yeah, I definitely think that's a huge benefit to VR. I was having this conversation with someone at work the other day, and I'm like, if I'm playing any other game, it's so easy. Like, you pick your phone up, you're scrolling through Twitter, you're like not paying attention to the cutscenes, and you should be. I mean, because that's where you're getting your story, that's where you're getting your narrative. But you just find yourself, it's far too easy not to do it. But in VR, it has your full attention all of the time until you stop, and it just makes the experience far more immersive and far more meaningful, because you are giving it its full attention and probably the attention the game deserves. And it definitely helps.
It's like when you go to the cinema, and I'm still old-fashioned, and I'll switch my phone off just because I'm paranoid. My phone hasn't made a noise for years, but I'm still paranoid that it will somehow ring, or some sort of text message alert will come through, or the government will decide to do some emergency test broadcast or something. I don't know, but I switch it off, and then that does give me the full attention on the film. In the same way, if I watch a film at home, I'm looking at, and I hate the phone. I hate the way our phones have totally ruined our concentration and our ability to focus on one thing, and we're now just constantly flitting from one bit of content or media or something for another. We're flicking apps. I can't stand that, and I tried so much to try and do it, but even trying my best to stop doing it, I still do it all the time. But that's why I think I really like VR, because I can't do that. You try and look at your phone in VR, you can't see it, even with the pass-through mode.
No.
So yeah. Oh, they're back again.
Oh. That sounds like someone playing Baby Shark on a trumpet.
Yeah, it's just like it's that guy from the England football matches outside my bedroom window.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, that's another Fisherman's Tale. I very much recommend it. It's probably a 4-5 hour experience. It's only a very short game. In terms of our Grumpy Old Man, you can play the whole game sitting down if you want. So it's a good from accessibility point of view. You can play it sat down. You can play it standing. There's not much wow factor to it in a kind of VR sense. The graphics aren't particularly impressive. They just do what they need to be. There's no vomit. There's no didn't make me feel queasy or ill, but I suppose nothing does when I play it. It is a very good game though in its own right, and it's got a good story. I think it could work. Well, it couldn't work, but I could see it. It's quite like non-VR games that I've talked about, like Edith Finch. So I think it is a good game in its own right, because it's that sort of style of game. So it most definitely gets my stamp of approval.
Awesome. Well, I have it downloaded, ready to start, and I just need to find the time to start it. But
cool.
Probably a good way to move on is like you talking about finishing a game, and I also finished a game that I spoke about last week, and I'm platinumed Red Matter 2. What a game! Like you mentioned it when we were talking in the first segment, Laurie, around the news, and Ben, you asked last week around how much of it was like almost more of a kind of showcase of the unit and the headset, and how much of it was a game, and I think it just balances that perfectly. I think it really utilises the features of the VR2, but at the same time it tells a really good story. It's got a really strong narrative all the way through, takes you on a bit of a journey, kind of almost teases you like in a few places, and you think, oh, you're thinking, is this, what's going to come of this, what's going to come of that, and it just to kind of keep you guessing so that you don't just see the story coming, and it's just so good. Like the use of the haptics in the headset are incredible. Like see when you're taking off in a spaceship, or you go through like these little tunnels on a train, and like as you're going through like each section of the tunnel, like you feel it kind of come through your head. Or like as I think Phil also said on Discord, it's like uses the fan to feel like in the decontamination chambers, to feel like the air hitting off your face and things like that. That's incredible. It's like so well thought through. You totally feel that weightlessness, like in terms of like you can take off from, because you're essentially in space. So like obviously you have the ability and booster packs and rocket packs on your back to thrust up. Thrusters is the word I was looking for. So you have thrusters to kind of like take off and enhance your jumps, and it's obviously you're moving quite slowly, but you do properly feel that weightlessness. But this, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah.
Sorry, Alex.
It's hard to
thinking about you saying thrust there. Can you say it again?
Thrust.
Nice.
But the one thing I'm a wee bit worried about now is I don't know if I've spoiled it for myself. Like, I don't know if I've spoiled it because this looks so good, it's so smooth, and I'm a bit like, have I spoiled all the other games? So like, I want all the games to look and feel and play like this, but I don't. And then when I played some other things today, I'm like, no, it's okay, it's fine. It's more about the experience. But everyone who has a PSVR2 should play this game. Simple.
Wow.
If I had to redo our top 5 list right now, I would be pushing it right up near the top.
Well, I've played about an hour of it, so like you, now need to play Fisherman, so I shall make an effort to play this and play more of this. But yeah, this is why sorry Zelda, but it's just so much more interesting. I know what I'm getting with Zelda. I really want to play all this stuff. This is all new stuff to me.
Yeah, agreed. I feel similarly actually. I haven't played Zelda for the last couple of days because I've just felt like playing VR stuff, which is quite nice. So after saying I would start it last week, I did get around to starting Humanity. Played the prologue and like the first world. I forget, they don't call it world, but you know what I mean.
Chapter or something. I don't even know if it's called chapter. It's something like that.
Yeah. But it's lovely. So I've played it all in VR so far. It's just such a really nicely presented, clean, like, I wouldn't say like, it's not chilled because there's thousands of people plummeting to their death as you're trying to solve a
doesn't
puzzle.
stress you as they're dying though.
I think like it does initially because my instinct is to be like, right, I want to do this perfectly. I don't want anyone to perish. But then after a few levels, it does say, don't worry, these people come back after they die. It's fine. Let as many be sacrificed as you need to. They'll come back through the door again. So yeah, I really like it. It's got that sort of, I mean, it is Lemmings, Choo Choo Rocket combined in a 3D space. And I think it was back on Crosscast when I spoke about playing the demo. And I kind of said, and you said something similar last week, Alex, about VR. Initially I was like, does it really lend anything? But I think it kind of does, because you get that sort of godlike feeling like you get in Moss, where you're sort of just hanging over the world and you can see around this lovely diorama, Captain Toad style lorry.
Captain Toad. There's a Captain Toad game.
Ding, 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 ding. So yeah, I think I'm looking forward to continuing playing it and seeing how those puzzles develop and evolve and become more elaborate with all the new powers and things you get. It's brilliant game. Highly, highly recommended.
New listeners will not know that I absolutely love Captain Toad Treasure Tracker on the Switch and the Wii U, I suppose. And you can play that in VR as well. To make a tenuous link to this podcast, you can play that in VR, and it does work quite well. Of all of the Labo VR games, the Captain Toad Treasure Tracker levels in VR are really cool. So
Such a trendsetter.
But great game. Play that game, everyone. If you've not played Captain Toad before, get it.
Still cost you like £45.
Yeah, but it's worth it. It's worth every penny. Well, moving on then. Before we get on to the main topic of the show, I just want to ask everyone, if you would like to support us, please do give this podcast a sub on the service you're using. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and leave a comment. Like and subscribe. That's what people say, isn't it? Like and subscribe now. Follow us on Twitter at crossbuttonvr and at the crossplayers. Check out thecrossplayers.com for links to all of our content and Discord. And thank you and welcome to the people that have joined our Discord in the last few days. There's been quite a few of you, so it's awesome. So anyone listening thinking, oh, I love my PSVR, I wish I had some more people to chat about and to share what I've been playing in and to gush about stuff, then just jump into Discord as well, because lots of people are, and it's great. So we'd love to see more of you. If you really want to love the show, please, you can do so via patreon.com, the crossplayers, or patreon.com/thecrossplayers. £2 a month, help us produce the show and get entry into our lovely little WhatsApp group as well. Now,
and about 90 extra episodes of podcast content just on Patreon, by the way. So that's
you really.
If you like listening to this,
big fan of the crossplayers. Yeah, although there's not so much VR discussion in the rest of it, sadly. So
they're all a bit left out, aren't they?
We do need some exclusive Patreon VR content.
Well, we have actually the last two things on the feed have been outtakes from our last couple of interviews.
Oh god!
So there is some VR content on there.
Okay, good. Well, there you go. There's a reason there for people. And we've been running competitions every week to celebrate us getting to 10 episodes. We're doing this every week. Last week we asked people to leave comments on our most recent YouTube video, and lots of people did. And at random, someone was chosen, and it was Agent Shieldbot. Congratulations, Agent Shieldbot. We will be posting your £10 voucher. No, we won't. We'll email it to you tomorrow.
Posting.
Get in touch. We'll sort it out.
Yeah, yes. Ben will drive around to your house and hand deliver it on a cushion. And your comment, you wanted to see Silent Hill, especially Silent Hill VR news, the showcase. So sorry about that one. But you also wanted to see Resident Evil 4 news. So you got some of what you wanted. Now, just to tee up this week's competition, I'm going to pass over to Ben. And there was a little pun there, wasn't there, Ben?
Very
Explain
good.
where that pun was from.
That was a fair way to transition over to
excellent.
That's right. So this week for our competition, we're going to spice things up a little bit, and we're going to do a little mini tournament in Walkabout Mini Golf, because we Loved that game, and we thought it'd be quite a fun thing to do. So what we're going to do is host a little, do we say 9 holes?
Yeah.
Quick 9 holes on Thursday, the 1st of June. So if you're listening to this the day it comes out, great. If not, then you might have missed out. But we're hosting it Thursday, 1st of June, 2023, 8 p.m. UK time. So that's when we will be playing. Before that, we'll be posting all the details into our Discord. So if you come and join the Discord, keep an eye on the PSVR2 channel. We'll post all the details about how to join and the rest of it there. And then the winner will get themselves £10 PSN credit. Simple as that. And it should be fun. Even if you don't win, it should be fun to get. I think we can have up to 8 people, can't we?
I mean, it will be fun because it's walkabout mini golf.
Exactly.
Yes. It'll be
Guaranteed fun.
Guaranteed fun. And it'll be great to meet some of our listeners and some of our audience as well.
Exactly.
You get to laugh at Ben trying to take shots in walkabout.
Sure. I'll ham it up. I'll pretend to be rubbish for you.
He'll teach you how to make some good excuses. He's very good at excuses.
Yeah. Thursday, 1st of June, 8 p.m. BST. Be there.
Awesome. I can't wait for that. Right, so topic then. Let's talk about the thing that everyone's talking about. What was this week was the PlayStation showcase. And it's fair to say that it didn't quite land as probably Sony were hoping. I think it's fair to say. And I quite liked it. I was quite surprised because watching it, I thought, this is great. There's loads of stuff here that I want to play. But we can't really go over the whole show because there's plenty of other podcasts on the internet that are going to go over the whole showcase as a whole and talk about the lack of Sony first parties and everything else. We just want to talk about the VR stuff that was in it. And there was a fair bit. It took a while to get to. I was a bit worried, thinking, when are they going to get to the VR stuff? It's about 45 minutes in before they did it. And they showed... I was completely wrong, as ever, with my predictions. Don't listen to me for what I think is going to happen, because it's never right. I thought we'd get a big first-party game and then a little sizzy reel of other stuff. And almost the opposite of that we got. I couldn't have been more wrong. There was no big first-party stuff. But what there was it opened up with the Resident Evil 4 VR mode. There was Arizona Sunshine 2. There was a trailer for Crossfire Sierra Squad, Synapse, and then finally Beat Saber, which was a stealth drop, which you two have both picked up and can talk about.
There was also Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, is that VR? Was that?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I think that was a little bit kind of almost went under the radar for VR because the last one I think was flat and VR, and it didn't. Whereas all the other trailers put PlayStation VR2 like over the top of the trailer, they didn't do it with that for some strange reason, but it certainly felt. And they did confirm afterwards it was a VR game, so there was that as well.
Because that's for me. It didn't have the PSVR logo in the corner, so that's why I didn't think it was. Oh, interesting. Well, Resident Evil 4 then. I think, Alex, you were right. It is the full game. It looks like it's going to be in VR. At least they showed the first scenes from the first kind of opening and it looked like the full game in VR, which is absolutely amazing, really.
Yeah, it does look very, very good and very, very scary. And I know I said I was holding off to play this in VR mode, but I think I'm probably too much of a pussy. I'm not going to lie.
I think why we have to stream you play.
Yeah,
people.
We can stream it together, Alex. You can play it, and I could just commentate.
You hold my hand virtually.
Exactly.
It'll be interesting for you, Ben, because you'll be playing it, and it'll be scary because it's in VR, but you'll know
what's coming.
So
surely
that will temper the.
Yeah,
hopefully, though,
it's my hope.
Hopefully they fix them. I've seen a lot of people have been not very happy with Resident Evil Village in VR recently because apparently you can't unlock any trophies in VR mode.
What? Really?
Yeah. Apparently that you can only unlock the trophies and if you play the game normally, but in VR mode it's a little bit more. No, they're not as keen to let you pop the trophies here. So hopefully they resolve that for Resident Evil 4 remake.
Let's bloody well hope so.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So whether that's a bug or whether that's been an active choice, I'm not sure, but I've seen quite a few people now talking about that fact.
I can certainly see it being, because they are two kind of separate modes, so I can see it like if you start in VR mode, then maybe that's your whole playthrough and you can only earn trophies that way or one way or the other, I don't know. But yeah, it would be good to get that tidied up because, hey, trophies are important.
Yeah.
Are they though?
Yeah.
But even if they're not, Resident Evil 4 VR, I was really impressed with how that looks. That looked crisp. As you know, I'm hype for that.
I mean, that will probably take the crown of the best looking game in VR when that comes out, or on the headset anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think we see it this year though. I think you're looking at next year for that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway, moving on. The next game they showed was Arizona Sunshine 2, not the Walking Dead game, which I thought when they started off, is this a Walking Dead comedy game? But no, Arizona Sunshine 2. This one actually felt guilty of actually laughing at some of the stuff that actually made me. Did make me chuckle. I thought this looks like a quite funny game.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. I thought the humour looked great. I don't think it showed much gameplay. I think it was all kind of more CG, but I thought this looks like it's. I hadn't even heard of the first game, to be honest. I'm holding my hands up. I hadn't heard of it at all, but I thought this looks really funny, really fun. Like when you were like slapping the heads with like torn limbs and stuff. I'm like, that just looks so stupid. Like I really wanted to do that.
When he's putting like a grenade in a zombie's mouth, and it was like 2 feet in front of him, blowing up. It's just like, oh, okay, you're fine still. That's good. And then when they had the zombie's head and it's doing like a ventriloquist kind of blah blah blah. That's how they ended the show. Remember that? It was really funny. They just blah blah blah, which is that just taking the piss out of all the people online. Just now going to be blah blah blahing about the conference, all the zombies. Was that a little dig at us, maybe? But yeah, that looks again. Well, I say it looks good. It was a CG trailer, so who knows what it will look like. But I think Arizona Sunshine 1 was well received and is a popular game, so presumably this will be too. Yeah.
And it's Vertigo Games as well, who kind of done quite a lot in VR so far. Like, because I mean, another Fisherman's Tale came from Vertigo, and After the Fall and Unplugged Air Guitar, and I think there's maybe another one, but they're kind of not really missed so far, I wouldn't say.
Next up, we had Crossfire Sierra Squad, another short trailer for that. It looks, like it has previously in its trailers. I'm not really sure what the point of this trailer was, because like it's just shots of you just mulling down people, running through different environments, shooting at people. It looks like a very sort of fast action, arcadey kind of like a ridiculous like thing.
It's like a military shooter.
Yeah, like a military shooter.
I think I tuned out at this point. I might have even said, another gun, because
there was a lot of guns.
In the showcase as a whole, it was like every other game had a gun in it.
And I've talked about in previous episodes how the stuff that I really seem to be enjoying most was when I'm not shooting stuff in VR. And just in games in general, I'm not really big into shooters or anything. So VR games, I just find it awkward to aim. I don't like it that you're just shooting people in VR. It just feels too kind of real and visceral and just unpleasant when you're tired at the end of the day. Just going into virtual space and shooting people. I don't know, just something about it.
If it was a pheasant or a clay pigeon, you'd be
fuck off. I have never. I've only shot guns in real life on someone's 21st birthday in Poland, and it was great fun. But yeah, never in this country in a social setting. No, I'll leave that one to Dan. But yeah, I mean, I think it does look good from what it's trying to do and what it's trying to be. Military shooter, arcadey type fun experience. The production values of it look very good, certainly.
It didn't float my boat. I was a bit like,
I have not much to say about that.
Okay, well, maybe that'll be one for me if we can get a code. One for me to play and not enjoy. But then the next thing, which is the highlight for me for sure, was another better look, because one we've seen before is Synapse, which they showed on the last State of Play. We had a little VR section in that as well, but we seemed to get a better look at it this time. The trailer was a bit more, showed what was going on, how it's kind of a roguelike where you're entering someone's mind. It's a bit of a roguelike thing where you have to defeat enemies in their mind to try and get to the heart of their subconscious. We revealed, or we found out in this trailer, that there was David Hayter, aka Solid Snake, and Jennifer Hale were doing the voiceovers, and she plays the female version of Shepard from the Mass Effect games. So some very good voice talent there. And David Hayter, when I watched back the trailer, knowing it was, because I didn't realise it was him at first, and then I saw that was pointed out, and I watched the trailer back, and I was like, it is Solid Snake, that's cool. So that instantly made me want to play it more. But that is looking really good. I like the setting in that. I like roguelike games in general if they're done well. If there's a strong story element that carries over between the runs, which this looks like it is going to have a story that seems quite story focused.
Yeah, it looks cool. Having just said, I said, another gun. The gun in this, I don't know. I think it's the presentation of it because it's got that sort of
and this has got a telekinesis type.
Yeah. So your left hand is like you're doing almost like Control-esque powers and just moving.
Kind of Darth Vader-y a little bit. Like,
yeah. It does look interesting. I think the only thing I couldn't quite wrap my head around was how you're moving around in the world. Is it, whether it's on rails or whether you've got like free roaming. I'd be interested to see in that. I think my preference would be if it's on rails and you're just going through like arcade style.
Yeah, it'd be a lot to do, wouldn't it? Moving and telekinesis and shooting stuff. Like, and exactly looking around. But yeah, it looks very promising. But the setting and the presentation looks
so stylish,
really good. Stylish. And this isn't exclusive for the headset as well. So I'm surprised Sony aren't putting more into marketing. Well, I mean, they are marketing it very highly. They put it in their showcase, for Christ's sake. But they need to be hanging out that this is an exclusive thing you can only get on PSVR2. And maybe if it turns out good, they will be doing that. And this could be that big thing. Because it's certainly got the voice talent and the level of polish that. Yeah, it looks like this is the sort of thing that they need on the headset.
Yeah, I pushed it a little bit since the showcase as well. So I think they did a full blog post on it and then more kind of stuff out their official accounts and stuff. So they have pushed this one a wee bit in. So I do think they will get behind this, and I think it deserves to get behind it. Like, it looks. This was probably one of my highlights of the whole show. Like, even back to when we looked at the state of play in this one, like, this looks really cool, and I think it looks even better in this. So and it's July 4th. It's really not far away. It's what, 6 weeks?
No, that's it. We've got a release date, July the 4th. Day after my birthday, everyone. So not that
noted.
Noted. Just get that in there. But yeah, this is probably the next big thing on her. I think we got Sea Smash next month, and then Synapse in July. It was interesting. There was quite a few. There was the absence of what's the other military shooter multiplayer game?
Firewall Ultra.
Ultra. Yeah, we didn't get any update on that, which is surprising because that's one that they've talked about a lot. We didn't hear anything about that, but.
Just when you mentioned MC Smash there, I see that Rapid Eye Movers confirmed today they'll be at the Future Game Show as part of Summer Game Fest. So I think that's on the 11th of June or 10th of June. Cool. So they're showing that there. So it'd be good to see more of that and the kind of more game modes and stuff they're revealing. I'm really impressed with some of the marketing they've been doing around that and getting all the different athletes and stuff involved, and I'm really looking forward to that game too.
Yeah, but on this showcase, it was interesting that although we saw Synapse again, which is one that we've seen before, it didn't return to some of the other ones that we saw at the last state of play that they did. So things like Behemoth and Janitor Foundation, Foglands. Yeah. So there's still a lot of stuff coming, but it's interesting that they didn't put a focus on those ones. So so what do you think as a showing then? Sorry, there's one last thing actually we'll talk about.
Don't forget the highlight.
Don't forget the last one. One last thing. Beat Saber, of course, it finally arrived, and they did it in style as well because it's available now. They didn't really make that as a big. They could have done it. It's available now in that really cliched way that people love. Yeah. And the new thing with it, this is obviously new, available everywhere, but the new thing that came out yesterday in line with it was the Queen music pack, which looks great. Beat Saber looks great anyway, and being able to listen to Queen tracks and do the "We Will." Surely it's made for Wii U. That looks great.
Well, you both picked it up. One of the longest pop songs in the world.
That is a workout. So you two both picked it up already. You went straight out and bought it.
I'm looking a little bit dishevelled tonight, a little bit more than I normally did, because I thought sorry, on you go.
I was going to say, give us some. You can save your proper what you've been playing thoughts. We'll talk about it next week. You can talk about it a bit more in depth, but just in your very first quick impressions on it.
It's a fucking workout.
Yeah. First impression, better than Synth Riders. Is my first impression of it.
I think it is. I mean, it is, but in a different way. I think I think where Synth Riders probably excels in the fact that it has like those experience tracks, and I don't think you really get that kind of thing from this. But it's just far more satisfying, probably more difficult to a certain extent. I think, as I say, it feels more involved. Like you definitely feel like you're more involved in it, and it's just it's everything I wanted it to be. Like
it is incredible. So you're not just putting your hands in where they need to go. You actually have to swipe down or across whatever way an arrow is pointing on each of the blocks. So it gives you so much more to think about. But yeah, so I started playing the campaign mode.
Yeah.
And I got to just hit this insane difficulty spike. I think it was like level 11.
That's where I got.
And suddenly it's
this.
like
Yeah.
these shapes are just coming at you like full on, and I just couldn't do it. I tried several times. I'm like, no, I'm gonna have to give up. It's crazy. But yeah, really, really good fun. And the online, I've tried a bit of the online as well. So you can play like in a multiplayer lobby with 3 other people, and you're playing competitively. So it's not just like, so you can the 3 of us plus, hey, Dan, for example, if he gets PSVR2, could play all at the same time, which would be incredible.
Yeah.
Just ribbing each other and trying to beat each other.
And I think the campaign is a big benefit. I think that's one of the biggest criticisms I had for Synth Riders, that it didn't have any sort of campaign. But it's so varied as well. Like each kind of section or level within the campaign's got a different. So one of them you need to hit a specific combo, but the combos will be a little bit harder because it will show you the arrows in advance and the arrows will disappear. So you need to remember which part of the block you're trying to hit. Or it'll speed the track up, or it could be you can only miss like one in the whole track, and you need to like basically get a perfect run. Or I mean, there was what was one of the other ones? It measures how much your arms move. So it's like, don't just move your wrists here. You need to hit at least 650 meters of movement in this track to pass it. Like, so it's all these different things. And it rewards
you for how much you're sort of flailing around.
Yeah.
So you
like
could
your
just
traffic
go,
controlling.
Tick, 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 but you have like if you do big sweeping motions, you get a higher score, which is sweaty.
Yeah.
Sweaty.
It must be something special because I asked you both to just give me your quick thoughts on it.
Yeah, we're still going.
No, it's great. It's great because I didn't even think I shut them up because I wanted to hear about it. So,
just get it.
Sounds great.
It is.
I will try and pick it up and make sure I played it before next week's episode as well. So that was the showcase. Then I think there's pretty more games than I was expecting, but I think it's fair to say there was a big, as with the showcase in general, a big gap of any first party update. What's next from PlayStation Studios after Call of the Mountain? That was the launch title. GT7 launch title. Okay, what's next from you guys? What are you going to do for us next? And we are still none the wiser, which is very surprising.
I think probably what makes me feel a little bit better about that though is that wasn't a PSVR2 thing. That was a PlayStation thing. That was a PS5 thing as well. Like
and if they had have come out with the big first party studios for everything else and then just VR was just forgotten about, it would be like, oh shit. But clearly they're just not ready to talk about anything across their first party, which
in a strange way kind of makes you, it builds even more anticipation, doesn't it? Because it's like, well, they're taking their cards completely.
Have you seen that? The people are now predicting there's going to be showcased in the autumn. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake, just leave it out. Just stop doing this to yourselves, people.
Until I hear it from Alex's mouth, I'm not going to believe it.
I can't see it. Can't see it.
One other thing from the showcase, though, was now I'm starting to see other games and think that would be cool in VR. So, like the Plucky Squire.
Yeah,
I think would be a great Moss-like VR game, and also like Talos Principle 2.
Yeah, I think I did see as well because I didn't know when they were going to start showing VR games, and when that came up, I was like, "Oh, is this a VR game? This looks like a VR game."
And I think there is a VR mode that eventually came out for the first Talos Principle. So
interesting.
There's potential there as well, but
I feel like Capcom are just doing God's work for Sony here, just by putting their biggest and best and strongest games into VR, kind of showing like, come on, look, anyone can do this, we can do it, so you can do it. Like, what are Sony paying Capcom to do this? Because there can't be any money in it for them. Like,
give us it for Street Fighter as well.
Oh god,
Hadouken.
First person, like the boxing game you play.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad. It wasn't like a blow your socks off.
See if
Thing, but
I think, and I said this when we done the live stream the other night. If that had been just a games conference, like say that had been Summer Games Fest, right, and that was a live show for Summer Game Fest, that would have been great. Like there was so many good games in there. I think where it failed is it failed as a PlayStation showcase. It didn't fail. That's unfair. It did not fail, but it didn't showcase PlayStation. It showcased what you can play on a PlayStation, but it didn't showcase PlayStation.
And I think Arizona Sunshine 2 was the only new VR game that we didn't really know about, which again was pretty disappointing. That they just showed us trailers. It's basically like Crossfire Sierra Squad. That trailer just added nothing to what we'd already seen. The RE4 one, that was genuinely amazing to see that running. The Synapse one definitely increased my interest in that game, so that trailer did a good job. And obviously the Beat Saber available now was a great hit. And yeah, Arizona Sunshine, that made me laugh as well. So there was a good variety of content there. It would have been nice for them to give a platform to some of the more artistic indie stuff that we see in VR, stuff like Fisherman's Tale, that kind of stuff. But, you know, I think in the context of the whole, it wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be, but then neither was the whole conference. So it's probably in line with kind of where I expected to be in relation to the context of the whole conference, I suppose.
It's going to be an interesting 6 months. I think we'll see stuff trickle out towards us over the next 6 months, but I'm not sitting here worried because I've got 6 months worth of games to play right now.
Oh yeah. Well, this is it, and this is what we know, and we're telling people about all the time. Anyone listening now, like if you are on the fence about buying a headset, we've got our top 5 games. I think we probably need to revisit that, and we are trying to keep it to 5 games, aren't we? So that we just want to keep it as useful as possible for anyone picking up a headset. These are 5 games that you can go out now, and these are our top 5 recommendations to go out and buy, which is a kind of realistic number of games for people to pick up with their headset. But I could make a longer list quite easily of 10 to 15 games. I think these are all worth picking up right now, and the headset's been out for like 3 months, and there's, even if Sony themselves don't support it, I think as a platform it's clearly easy to develop for and port games across from. JP told us, explained that to us as a process. It's just porting games to it is like taking the shackles off for them, and there is a decent audience there to sell to. And like the first PSVR1, I think people buy lots of games for it when you have this headset, so there's incentives for people to bring the games across. So even if Sony don't develop for it, it's still going to be a great place to play lots of games, and they may not be exclusives, there may not be stuff that you can't also get in Quest, which would be a shame if it doesn't take the most out of the PlayStation's power and what you can do with that headset. But still, there's going to be lots of good stuff to play.
Yeah, and if you look at something like Red Matter 2, you really get a sense of the potential of it as well. Like that's the one thing that I thought when I finished that game. I'm like, if this is what something this early from like an indie studio porting a game that's been on PC VR can do, then when we really do start to see the first party studios get in about this properly, then what we're going to see, because it did genuinely excite what this thing can do. Excite me about what this thing can do.
Yeah, and I'd like it wouldn't surprise me to see it, say if Synapse is an exclusive game, if that does do well and it does perform, Sony will look to expand their in-house, their first party with line up with some VR developers. So maybe the developer of Synapse could come on board, but just being able to have a regular cadence of first party games of that quality and caliber would do very well for the headset. I think it only needs to be a couple of years of first party games, and they've got studios that will be able to do it. We just need to be reassured that they are making stuff that will arrive.
Yep.
And they can be shorter, smaller experiences, so hopefully they're quicker to churn out than the likes of your kind of God of Wars and Last of Us, because they are quite happy with VR games to be 4 or 5 hours long. That's fine. They don't need to be longer than that. That's great. So yeah, hopefully less resources, or they can turn them around a bit quicker. So with fewer teams, they can be putting out more games.
There's a little robot dying to get out.
Oh yeah, no Astro still. Not even a port of the bloody first game. Yeah,
sad.
That will get annoying actually. If we get a year or two into this thing being out and there's still really good games just stranded on PSVR1 Island, that will be really frustrating. Because if you've got lots of indie devs porting stuff like Song in the Smoke and enhancing it and releasing it for free, then why can't Sony be doing that with some of their games that like we are desperate. I'm desperate to play. I'd love to play some of the PSVR1 stuff, and I kind of assumed it would all come over in time, much like the Wii U to Switch. So let's hope that does happen. Any final thoughts, gents, on the showcase or the week in general, or just life? Now's the time. Speak up.
Too many thoughts. Too many thoughts to share.
They need to be untangled for next week. Okay,
well. Thank you, everyone, once again for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you could please give us a review or share it on your socials. And do, as I've said before, and I will always keep banging on about it, please do drop into our Discord and say hi. We love that. Thank you again to all of our patrons for supporting the work we do. Reminder, again, if anyone wants to join our walkabout mini golf competition, that will be happening on Thursday, what is it?
1st of June.
1st of June.
BST.
Thank you. We hopefully see lots of you there, or around 8 of you there. So I've been your host, Laurie. These two have been Ben and Alex, and we will see you again next time. Until then, it's goodbye.